Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Augusta National Golf Club, and this is the scene of the final round of the 1970 Masters Tournament. We have a bonus for you this afternoon. Most of you have been watching hockey, and now we have an extra, about 20 minutes or so of outstanding golf coverage to present, so be prepared for some surprises. Right now, we'd like to have you take a look at our leaderboard because many things have been happening already today. Three-way tie for the lead. One stroke off the pace, Gary Player. Dave Hill, a hot putter today, just 2 strokes off the pace. Tommy Aaron continues his fine play. Dave Stockton is very much in it. So in other words, the leaders today have not been faltering, but those close to the lead have been moving ever closer. Outstanding play under ideal weather conditions here at Augusta National Golf Club. Now, action on the 9th hole. This was Billy Casper a few moments ago as we watch on videotape his try for a birdie. Now he had just come up with a double bogey at 8, and instead of being 9 under par, was 7 under, but that birdie putt a few moments ago placed him 8 under par. Remember now, this is on videotape just a few moments ago. Now Casper's playing with Gary Player. This is for a birdie at the 9th hole. And that was the birdie putt that enabled Gary Player, the only foreign player ever to win this Masters, to move within 1 shot of the lead. So right now, let's go out to the live action at the par 5 15th.
And Tony Jacklin will be going for an eagle here on the 15th. This green he reached very handsomely in 2 shots. Jacklin was over this green yesterday and almost in the water behind it with his second shot. Well, the current British Open champion has just a little tap in. A little more than a tap in, but it's his birdie 4 and brings him back to even par. His playing companion today, Bert Green. Bert was out of the fairway with his tee shot, but did elect to come to the green with his second, but went into the water, took the penalty and dropped out on the far side, and now he's putting for his par 5. If he sinks this putt, which is probably 6 feet, he would remain even. This is the 15th hole in the final day here of the Masters of 1970. And after going in the water, Bert Green continues to get his par here. Meanwhile, back up the fairway on this 520-yard hole, we have Jack Nicklaus and his companion, Orville Moody. Moody about to hit. As you could see, he used a wood, and he went for the green. He may have hit it too much, and he's over the green. It's rolling down and toward the water beyond, and is it going to stop? It comes up over to the edge. He stays in the grass. He's safe. Jack Nicklaus now with his second shot. Big tee shot Jack hit here. Dead level with the last big mound. Jack's ball, too. Seems to be a little... Hits the flagstick! Jack hits the flagstick with his second shot. The ball looked as though it was going over the green, and it might well have gone all the way over and into the water beyond. But it hit it dead center and stopped. So now quickly over to 13.
Leading the players over the bridge, Dave Hill at 6 under par for the tournament, followed by Dave Stockton at 4 under par. Both very much in contention, and each man with a long eagle chance here. Dave Hill is perhaps 40 feet from the hole, pin high. Dave Stockton just on the collar of the green with a chip or putt of 50 feet. We go to 16.
And here on 16, British Open champion Jacklin. And he's way over and would nearly have done a hole-in-one yesterday when the flag was just there. Jacklin leaves himself a 45-yard putt. He's even par, and we got one back today. Playing partner Bert Green, also even par. He started even, and so he's even all round. Bert Green, the 16th, the flag today, on the right-hand top side. Yesterday it was on the left-hand top side. So there's no bunker between them and the flag today. His line is just to the left of the far right-hand bunker in the distance. Now to 15.
Jack Nicklaus walking up into the 15th green with the crowd applauding. Now back over to 16.
And arriving is Bert Green's tee shot, and you can see the slope there as it fades away to the left and leaves him flat to 20 feet when it was about 40, when it pitched and back to 30.
Dave Stockton, 50 feet from the hole, chipping for an eagle. Oh, it's a fine shot, 2 feet from the hole. His playing partner, Dave Hill, preparing for a 40-foot eagle shot, which can tie him for the lead in the Masters. There's a very subtle ridge between him and the flag, and the flag is cut only some 12 to 15 feet, as you can see, from the edge of the green. He does not have a lot of space to maneuver with. Now Dave Hill, a very important putt, a very critical putt for him. He can tie the lead if he makes this putt. 40 feet from the hole. Dave Hill. There it is, gone beyond recall. No. That's a safe birdie, though. It should make him 7 under for the tournament, 1 behind the leaders. Thirteenth green, final round of the Masters. And perhaps it's not such an easy birdie putt after all. He's 2.5 feet from the hole. He's taking very great care. He's missed. Very critical putt for Hill. So he's still 2 shots behind the pace. We move to 15.
Nicklaus is about to get set to try for his eagle. He eagled this hole yesterday. This would be his second eagle of the day because he also eagled the second hole today. He is 2 under par. He was much farther yesterday and made the putt. But today he will have to settle for a birdie 4 here on the 15th. Having slid that distance by, marks his ball. Orville Moody, who was over the green with his second shot, left himself short with the third, and still considerably short with his little pitch shot to the pin, and he's now trying for the one putt that would give him the par 5, which would leave him even. Moody, ironically, has had 5s on the hole all 3 previous rounds. But today it becomes a costly bogey 6, and he goes to 1 over par. Nicklaus, if he sinks this birdie putt, would go to 3 under, having started play today 1 under, and at one time today was 4 under when he had finished the 8th hole. This is for a birdie. Moves 3 under par and off the 15th, and we go back to the 14th.
That is Frank Beard, who hit his second shot just over the 14th green. He has about 14 feet of green to work with. He's playing with Takaki Kono. Beard does not have the putter in his hand, so he'll chip it from where he is. He's 3 under par. Excellent shot by Frank Beard. Now to 18.
Here's the leading amateur in the tournament so far, Charlie Cole, preparing to hit his second shot at 18. And an excellent shot it is at the 18th, and we're going back to 16.
And on the tee, Jack Nicklaus. 3 under now. 190 yards, probably only 5 iron for him. Jack Nicklaus. Towering up towards the pin, is it enough? And the answer is no. He leaves himself a very long putt, dead straight, but the wrong club. A 60-footer coming up for Nicklaus, and now Orville Moody tees up. He started even, and now he's 1 over, so he's dropped 1 today. Orville Moody, 860. And there's another one, dead straight, but almost 2 clubs short for Orville Moody. We're going to see some very, very long putts on this green if we come back here later. And now to 14.
Dave Stockton surveying his second shot here at 14. Slightly uphill it will be, and into the wind. Many of the players have been short today because of that. Stockton 5 under par. That's the shot that Dave Stockton was looking up at just a moment ago. at 5 under par. Almost hit the flagstick, rolls over slightly, but that's what the golfers prefer, to play the hole with a chance of going over rather than being short. That's Dave Hill, who is just 2 shots away from the lead, 6 under par. He 3-putted 13 for par just a moment ago. Seen a lot of them not quite so sure about what club they want to use here at 14. It's 420 yards. And Hill leaves himself with an excellent shot at a birdie. Now to 16.
And here on 16, we're going to see quite a lot of putting. They'll do very well if they get down in 4 putts between them. Nicklaus about 60 to 65, and Moody 65 to 70 feet. Moody first, and we go to 18.
Bob Charles preparing to hit his 3rd shot, his second quite short of the green. And the 34-year-old New Zealander, the only left-hander ever to win a major championship, the British Open back in 1963, is on the 18th green in 3, and we're going back now to 16.
There's Orville Moody. He's going to be the first to putt. You can see by how little he carried the water and got just onto the front part of this very deep and lengthy green. 65 to 70 feet it will be. It's difficult to tell whether he took completely the wrong club and hit a good shot, or whether vice versa, and he took the right club and didn't quite do it right. You can't quite see from behind the green. But at any rate, it's about 70 feet for Orville Moody. Mostly up the slope. He doesn't want to go too far and come charging past. We'll have a very difficult one to trickle in towards the hole back again. Orville Moody, a very long one, on the 16th. Well, he judged the line perfectly, but he's a good 4 feet short, and we go to 18.
This is Charlie Coe, our leading amateur, putting for a birdie at 18. A downhill putt. Charlie is right now 4 over for the tournament, 3 over today. Steve Melnick, a 75 today, and finished the tournament 9 over. And Vinnie Giles, a 74 today, finished the tournament 8 over. So the veteran Charlie Coe is the low amateur in the 1970 Masters and continues his illustrious play, and we go out to 16.
Back to Jack Nicklaus. Same sharp curl on it, and he is almost equidistant. I don't know who it will be to putt. They're almost side by side there, a good 4 feet each. I say it's Moody first. Moody starting the day even and 1 over now. Nicklaus starting the day 1 under and 3 under now, back to 18.
This is Bob Charles for a par. And certainly Charles's reputation as one of the fine putters didn't suffer, and we go to 16.
And first in is Moody. He gets away with it. Very long putt and a 4-footer. Par 3 for Moody. He remains 1 over. Back to Jack Nicklaus, starting 1 under, now 3 under. He has this for par 3 to stay 3 under. Jack Nicklaus. Well done by both of them. They got away with it, and they got off. They started Moody 1 over, Nicklaus 3 under. And now to 18.
We have an opportunity right now, as we are about to conclude, what shall we call it, our informal coverage of the final round of the 1970 Masters, to tell you that again today we do have ideal weather here at Augusta. You have not had an opportunity to formally meet the members of our CBS broadcast reporter team, but you will have that opportunity in just several moments. We would like to tell you that you will get a chance today, when our formal coverage continues very shortly, to watch play at the 13th, in addition to the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. The finest round of the day thus far has been turned in by Miller Barber, who just before teeing off this morning looked and said to some friends, I can't remember when I've played so poorly. So what did he do? He went out in 35 today, came back in 30, and that 30 tied the record here for the back nine. And so that was the finest round of the day, the finest round of the tournament, and just one away from the course record of 64. So we've had some exciting golf played today. We hope you've enjoyed our informal coverage, and of course we will be with you until a winner is determined today, or if there be a tie, then the playoff system here at the Masters dictates that there is an 18-hole playoff tomorrow. There is no continuation of play today beyond the finish of the regulation 72 holes. So the weatherman has been most kind to us so far in Masters Week here at Augusta, Georgia, and the gallery has had an opportunity to watch some brilliant golf. And everything that has happened thus far today would indicate another exciting finish as the finest players in the world contest for the 1970 Masters title. CBS Television Sports presents, from the Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia, the final round of the 1970 Masters Tournament. Good afternoon, this is Ray Scott. As the final round unfolds, the weather continues most pleasant, and there is ample and beautiful evidence that spring has indeed arrived in Augusta. To summarize tournament play so far, Tommy Aaron led the first round with a 68. 69s were posted on Thursday by Gene Littler and Bert Yancey. Friday's play was featured with 68s by Gary Player, Billy Casper, and Takaki Kono. The leaders were Bert Yancey and Gene Littler at 139, 5 under. Yesterday saw the front nine played in 31 by Tommy Aaron, and that tied a record. And the sensational start on the back nine yesterday by Charlie Cootie, who birdied 10, 11, 12, and 13, and that too tied a Masters record. After 54 holes were complete, Billy Casper was in front at -8. Gene Littler 1 stroke back, Gary Player just 2 strokes off the pace, and 3 players only 3 shots back: Tommy Aaron, Charles Cootie, and Bert Yancey. Our CBS coverage includes play at 13 and continues through 18. It is now my pleasure to introduce our CBS broadcast reporters.
I'm Bob Ferrier. I shall be covering the par 5 13th hole.
And I'm Pat Summerall, covering the par 4 14th hole.
And reporting from the par 5 15th, John Durr.
This is Henry Longhurst reporting from the beautiful par 3 16th.
This is Frank Lieber, and I'll be reporting play at the par 4 17th.
And this is Ray Scott. I'll be covering play at the par 4 18th. Now let's check the leaderboard in this, the final round of the 1970 Masters. And indeed we should check the leaderboard, because Gary Player has now joined Gene Littler and Bert Yancey in a 3-way tie for the lead. Billy Casper, who at one stage today had picked up 1 stroke on par and was 9 under, came up with a double bogey at 8, then birdied 9, and we're going to the live action at 13.
Gene Littler with an 80-yard pitch to the flag. His third shot, and a brilliant shot it is too. He can't be more than 6 feet from the hole. Gene Littler leading the tournament with his playing partner Bert Yancey and Gary Player, all at 8 under par. Yancey went for the big shot over the water, over the creek at this hole, carried past the flag, and his ball just trickled into the second trap at the back left of the green. He lies 2 and faces a very difficult bunker shot from there. He has to play to a fast downhill green with a difficult ridge just halfway across his distance. Bert Yancey, 8 under par. Oh, and that's a brilliant shot. He couldn't have hoped for anything better than that. He's 5 feet from the hole, and this really is very critical for both of these players. This is one of Augusta's most beautiful holes, the Azalea, but I don't suppose either of these men have much time for smelling the flowers today. Yancey will putt first for his birdie. No, it seems that Littler will putt first for his birdie, but there can't be very much difference between the distances here. Holes number 11 and 12 at Augusta are very difficult. 13 is looked on as a prime birdie hole, so this can make a very critical swing either way for either player. Littler putting for the birdie, 5 feet from the hole. Oh, he's made it. Oh, a very good putt under the pressure. Now let's see if Yancey can match it. That one really made Yancey think. Bert Yancey, 13th green, last round of the Masters, and a 4-foot putt to maintain his share of the lead with Gene Littler and Gary Player. Oh, it just slid away. Yancey 8 under par, just missed. Littler 9 under par. And that is a very serious breakdown for Yancey. And so at this moment in the final round of the 1970 Masters tournament, the leader is Gene Littler at 9 under par.
And so Gene Littler has the lead now, but by a very, very narrow 1 shot. And one of the players he is leading, Gary Player, has just hit his second shot to 13, and we're going now to 13.
Billy Casper in the fairway at 13 on his second shot. He's carried the creek, he's carried the water, made the green, and his shot and Gary Player's shot, his playing partner's shot, are almost identical. 40 feet, 45 feet from the hole. Here's Gary Player going for the green on videotape with a big wood. He's carried the water. Very safe, perfect shot. Gary Player approaching the 13th green, 8 under par. Billy Casper, his playing partner, 7 under par. We go to 18.
The reigning British Open champion, Tony Jacklin, just 25 years old, preparing to hit his third shot at the par 4 18th. We're going out to 15 right now.
Where Dave Hill, about to come out of the bunker on the right of the green, reached that point in 2, running the ball, going to be very, very short, though, with his try for the birdie here at the 15th. He needs the birdie because he is quickly running out of holes, and he's 3 strokes away from the lead. And now over to 13.
13th hole. Billy Casper on the right, and Gary Player approach the bridge over the creek. Player is 8 under par for the tournament, Casper 7 under par. Both carry the water with second shots. Both have eagle or birdie chances here. Very critical hole for both of these men. These are the great giants of world golf, playing in one of world golf's greatest tournaments. Billy Casper just on the putting surface, 45 feet from the flag. The green sloping down to the stick. And very little space behind that flag, as you'll see presently. Only 12 feet from the flag to the far side of the green, and 4 or 5 feet after that, the fearful creek, which is out of bounds. Now to 15.
Dave Stockton still trying to get into the thick of things. Chipping from below the hole, but the best he can get here would be a par 5. He was over the green in 2, then off the front edge in 3, back up in 4, and has that little putt for his par 5. Now back to 13.
Gary Player studies his shot. 45 to 50 feet from the hole, 3 or 4 feet into the collar of rough around the green. He's contemplating chipping or putting. Both Gary and Billy Casper, of course, his playing partner, are masterly short game players. And we'll see how they handle these shots. Player 8 under par, Casper 7 under par. We go to 15.
Hill now ready for his try for the birdie. Dave is about 45 feet. But he is 6 under par. Starts walking quickly, noticing that the ball is going to be short, and it is, and we go back to 13.
Gary Player off the fringe of the green, 50 feet from the hole, has his putter for an eagle. Oh, it's nicely over the ridge. It's a good putt. Oh, a fine putt, 3 feet, maybe a little less from the hole. If Gary birdies that, he can tie the lead with Gene Littler, who is currently 9 under par. 14th hole.
Gene Littler looking up to the 14th green. He's about 175 yards away. Playing with Bert Yancey. And he's the tournament leader of the 1970 Masters. 9 under par. Just hit the front side of the green. It's a good shot. To 13.
Billy Casper with an eagle putt from 45 feet to tie the lead. Good putt, Casper. Billy Casper 7 under par. We move to 18.
Jack Nicklaus preparing to hit his second shot at 18. This is the par 4 18th. Nicklaus is 4 under for the tournament, 3 under today. Beautiful, beautiful shot. Jack Nicklaus with a beautiful 6-iron within about 3 feet plus a few inches perhaps for a birdie at 18. And back now at 13.
Gary Player, 30 inches from the hole, for a birdie which can tie Gene Littler's lead. He's made it. He's 9 under par, tied with Gene Littler for the lead in the Masters. Now Billy Casper, 7 under par with a birdie putt. He needs this very badly to keep within 1 shot of these fellas. This putt can make him 8 under par. And he's got it. And this is going to be as good a Masters finish as ever. 14th hole.
Bert Yancey hit the finest shot we've seen at 14 today. Only about 5 feet away. That is Bert Yancey. Light slacks and green shirt. He's about 5 feet away from the pin. 8 under par, just 1 shot back of Gary Player and Gene Littler. There is Littler. Littler has a putter in his hand. He is about 30 feet below the cup, and he'll have to come slightly uphill. He is at a very, very difficult spot on this very tricky green. He has to come up a hill, and the whole green really slopes down to his right. This is his 3rd shot. By about 2 feet by. Now for the birdie try of Bert Yancey for a putt that would put him in at least a share of the lead. Yancey is 8 under, Littler 9 under, Player 9 under. About 5 feet. Bert always seems to play well here at Augusta National. Have about 18 inches coming back. He has had 2 good chances the last 2 holes. 4 birdies. Littler is away. He'll putt first. This is for par. Remains 9 under and shares the lead. And now Bert Yancey, who needs this for his par. Bert Yancey remains 8 under par and 1 stroke off the lead. And so at this moment, in the final round of the 1970 Masters tournament, the leaders are Gene Littler and Gary Player at 9 under par.
While we were watching those critical putts of Bert Yancey and Gene Littler, here at 18, Jack Nicklaus was putting for a birdie, and we watched that attempt now on videotape. Now to the live action at 15.
On the 15th tee, Gene Littler has just driven his ball, and Bert Yancey was on the tee now. We see Littler's ball come to rest there in the center of the fairway. This is the 520-yard hole. Yancey, who had birdie opportunities on the last 2 holes, 1 stroke away from the lead. Yancey on this long hole, knowing this is likely to be a birdie for all of the contenders, has also in the fairway, and we go to 14.
And that was the second shot of Billy Casper. Gary Player's already hit. Casper almost hit the flag. He's just on the edge. He's about 14, 15 feet away. Player is over, almost went into the gallery behind the green. That's Player's ball at the right side of your screen, back close to the crowd, and Casper, as I said, about 14 feet away. Now to 15.
Now coming over the water, Tommy Aaron. Tommy 6 under par, has hit a fine shot in and will have a good chance at his birdie to go 7 under. Aaron has had an up and down tournament, but has thrilled the gallery here this week, and he is still fighting in there for a birdie here on 15. Playing with him, Charles Cootie, who reached this green in 2 and will be putting shortly for an eagle. But Cootie has lost strokes today, and he is now -1. As they walk across the bridge onto 15, we go to 14.
And coming up to 14, Gary Player and Billy Casper, the last 2 shots. Casper has parred 14 all 3 days. Player has scored 5, 4, and 3. There have been only 6 birdies here during this 4th and final round. The player's got only about 14 feet of green to work with. Now let's go to 18.
Here is Larry Hinson playing in his first Masters and preparing to hit his 3rd shot. This is the par 4 18th. And an excellent bunker shot it is by the young man who is, as we say, appearing for the first time here at Augusta National in the Masters. He started the day 1 under par and has not played particularly well today, being 7 over, but he's 6 over par for the tournament. And we're going now to 14.
Gary Player with his 3rd shot. He's the co-leader. He's left himself a very, very difficult putt. And now Billy Casper from about 15 feet. got this putt for a birdie, he could tie for the lead. Very, very quiet here at the 14th green. The galleries here at Augusta National, as always, very courteous and very knowledgeable. This is for a birdie. And so Billy Casper, who is 8 under par and 1 shot off the lead, again pars number 14. As we said, he has all 4 days. Gary Player has about 7 or 8 feet for his par. He's tied with Gene Littler at 9 under. But this is a tough, tough putt. Bogey 4, bogey 5 here at 14. If Gary Player makes this putt. And so he slips back to 8 under par if he makes this. Now to 15.
He hit his second shot here on 15, going with the wood. Player made the putt at 14. Littler's ball coming toward and over the 15th green. Bert Yancey had already hit on this hole, and Bert is in the bunker at 15. Bert's ball came at, from our location, we cannot see if he has a good lie or is buried, but it looked as though he hit well into the lip of the bunker there. And so at this moment, in the final round of the 1970 Masters Tournament, the leader is Gene Littler at 9 under par.
So we have a single leader, Gene Littler, and we're going right out to 15.
And at 15, we have lots of action. Billy Casper has driven on 15, and he has hit a beautiful shot into the center of the fairway. Gary Player, whose bogey just dropped him back into 1 stroke away from the lead, is now about to hit on 15. And the little man really turned into that. Hits on the side slope there and moves back into the fairway, and he will have to make a choice of whether or not he wants to gamble at this stage of going over the water. But that's a choice that awaits Gary Player. Meantime, back here at the green, we have a choice. Bert Yancey is in the bunker. As we said, we from this position cannot see what sort of lie he has in the bunker, but you see he's up very close to the lip. We can see the out, though, and it's a good out, a fine out, stopping about 10, 12, 14, 15, maybe 18 feet he will have for his putt to come back. And Bert Yancey is very unhappy with the speed with which that ball came out of the sand. But not yet on the green is the leader, Gene Littler, who has moved over the green with his second shot and has gone up now to study to look at the way the green rolls around the cup, around the flagstick. Moments of great tension here at 15, with the 4 contenders all playing this 520-yard hole. Littler and Yancey at the green. Casper and Player coming down the fairway to where their drives had already been hit. Littler from over the green, I would judge to be about 60 feet, perhaps a little farther from the flagstick itself. The first third of that is up a mound before he gets to the putting surface. That is an excellent shot. An excellent shot by Gene Littler. May well turn out to be the most decisive shot we will see today. And Littler, who is known sometimes as being a rather phlegmatic player, unemotional, gave us a big smile. Wastes little time in tapping it in for his birdie to go still yet another stroke under par, and at this point leads the tournament with 10 under par. Gene Littler, 17 years he's been playing in the Masters tournament. Bert Yancey. Bert hit his tee shot a little wide to the right. Meanwhile, over at 16...
Now here on 16 is Tommy Aaron. And he's just 3 inches short of the bunker with his tee shot. He pushed it out, didn't quite go in, and we threw it back to 15.
Where Bert Yancey tries for his birdie. And oh, so close again. This makes 2 holes in which we thought he had a chance at the birdie. And here, from a very tough try, he almost got the birdie. Birdies on these last few holes are difficult to come by. Yancey finished well yesterday after having a triple bogey at the 12th hole. He came back to be only 5 under par. He is not yet in here at the 15th, but he's close. And now he is, and he is 8 under par. He lost a stroke and backed up the fairway now. Gary Player has come down and looked it over, and he has the wood, and he has decided to go for over the water, to go for it all. And here we will now watch Gary Player's shot, second shot, on the 15th hole. Remember, this is a 520-yard hole. There's water in front, a narrow green, and water beyond. But Player went into the sand. Went into the sand with such speed that the ball bounded out. And he does not have a fried egg lie. He has a good lie in the sand trap. Billy Casper has watched that shot. Casper's drive being considerably to the left of where Player had driven. And Mr. Casper has pulled out the wood. The heavy artillery is being called for here as they make their assault on this 15th hole. Wasting no time, Billy hits the second shot, clears the water, and goes into the same bunker in which we just a few moments ago had one of the contenders, Bert Yancey. We now have Gary Player, and we now have Billy Casper. So of the 4 contenders, none of the 4 actually made the putting surface with their second shots. But Billy Casper walks down the fairway, and we go to 18.
A moment ago, Takaki Kono of Japan had this putt for a 4. He's even with par for the tournament. And 30-year-old, 5'6", 140-pound Takaki Kono, playing in just his second Masters. Last year he tied for 13th. Finishes well today, and we're going back to 16.
And here is Tommy Aaron with a terribly difficult shot, only about 30 feet, lying on loose blown sand. It's gathering speed. Very, very difficult shot it was, really. And it's gathered speed and gone 12 feet past 13, perhaps more. Tommy Aaron, 7 under at the moment. Still, roughly speaking, in the hunt. This is only the 16th. but he'd have done better to go actually into the bunker than there. And so at this moment in the final round of the 1970 Masters tournament, the leader is Gene Littler at 10 under par.
Can Gene Littler, 40 years of age, playing in his 17th Masters, cling to that two-shot lead over three of the finest players in the world, Gary Player, Bert Yancey, and Billy Casper, with Tommy Aaron conceivably waiting in the wings? We'll know the answer to that over these next moments here at Augusta National Golf Club as our gallery is watching continued outstanding golf, and we're going to the live action at 16.
There is Littler and his tee shot. And he pushed it right out, and it flopped into the short bunker on the right, and must have been, for him at this moment, a really bad shot. We go to 15.
And as one goes into the sand, one comes out. Gary Player coming out of the sand, but coming out quite short. He had a good 100 feet, and as you know, that's one of the more difficult shots from the bunker. Now back over to 16.
Back to 16, we have Bert Yancey. Littler 10 under, Yancey jointly second with 8 under. That looked a much better one. That's nicely on the back of the green for Bert Yancey, about 35 feet away. And back to 15.
Billy Casper's ball came to rest in the front portion of the green, but not so close to the edge of the green as that it might impede his shot. He is in good position. The difficulty that he has here, as mentioned earlier, is that he is approximately 100 feet, or perhaps a little more, from the flagstick itself, a long bunker shot. This will require a good deal of running. The ball is getting the run. And a very, very fine shot by Billy Casper here, putting him in position for a birdie. So that he walks up as Gary Player, who is away by considerable distance. The appreciative gallery here at this joint for 16th and the 15th, as Gene Littler walks along the fairway by the water on 16, gets a tremendous round of applause from the gallery, which has been sitting here and watching good golf all day. Gary Player has continued to line up his ball from beyond the cup. He is well aware of the circumstance that this try for a birdie, which is in front of him now, may be his best birdie try remaining of these last few holes. And out in front of him is Gene Littler at 10 under par. And Gary is 8 under and trying to go 9 under with this shot. Whether he knows that Littler's in the bunker, I don't know. Player is about decided. At this point, he has determined where the line is. Meanwhile, we have Gene Littler in the bunker at 16. That's the par 3 16th, immediately behind our location here. Player going for the birdie. Littler coming out of the bunker very nicely onto the putting surface at 16. Not close to the hole. Will still have a very difficult putt. Player going for the birdie. Goes just a shade by. This means that he will have gone through 15, still 2 strokes away from the lead. But that lead may be undergoing a little change too back at 16, because Littler has quite a long putt. And Billy Casper now, with his try for the birdie from a considerably shorter distance, known for a long time as perhaps the premier putter of the American golfers. He needs to pull one of those regular Casper putts out of the bag at this point. One stroke away from the lead that may be in balance on the 16th hole in a very few moments. And we go over to Henry Longhurst at 16.
Here's Bert Yancey, 30 to 35 feet away from the hole. If he gets it in, which is not likely on this slippery green, he will be the first birdie we've seen today at the 16th. Bert Yancey. Just faded away, you see, and it's 4 feet past. Very difficult to stop them just by the hole. And Littler, a little unlucky with his bunker shot, which pitched just in the little fringe of the green, pulled up. It might have gone another few feet. Now he's left with a 15-footer. Rather uphill. Been putting absolutely beautifully this week. But this really is a very difficult one, although it's only 15 feet. Now, come on, a little more. Now, his best finish has been 4th so far in the Masters. Now he's dropped a stroke there and goes back to 9 under from 10. Under for Littler, level now with Casper, who's waiting on the tee behind. Yancey 8 under. Anything can happen, but he must hold this putt. Can't afford to go 2 behind. It's up the slope now for Yancey, so he can at least afford to hit it fairly firmly. Very big moment for Yancey, the 16th. This to stay 8 under. Very finely held putt for Yancey. So David, it's Littler 9 under, Yancey 8 under, and we go back to the tee. The flag, we don't see it very clearly there from there, which I'll do later, but the flag is just on the left of the far right-hand bunker. Casper, 9 under, player 8 under. Also Yancey 8 under, and Littler 9 under. So they're waiting for the trap to be raked on the left there, where Littler has just played his trap shot from. You can see the whole of the hole back there, 190 yards, flag fairly well on the back of the green, and not a single 2 here today yet. We had so many yesterday when the flag was way up on the left. One would have thought more difficult. Now here with closing stages of 1970 Masters, last we shall see of the 16th hole, and Billy Casper, level with Littler at 9 under. Left, but it's well up. Bites and holds it, may go, yes, onto some rather rough stuff just at the back of the green. A tricky little shot back, but he should somehow make a 3. Now we go back to the tee. Gary Player, who together with Yancey is 8 under against Littler and Casper 9 under. Ruled on the flag. Well, about 9 feet for Player, and maybe the last man of the day may get the first birdie. Throw to 17.
And on the tee at 17, co-leader Gene Littler in this 400-yard par 4. 17th. Trees guarding both sides of the fairway. that shot looks like it has absolutely split the 17th fairway right near the ball of Bert Yancey. Yancey has split the fairway as well here on 17, in perfect position. And so at this moment in the final round of the 1970 Masters Tournament, the co-leaders are Gene Littler and Billy Casper at 9 under par.
And so the excitement is high and the dramatics continue here at Augusta National as the 1970 Masters indeed is drawing down just as fine as it can be. And can you imagine that in our final two twosomes are the two co-leaders and the two men who are just one shot behind? This, I guess, would be about as close to match play and still having medal play as you could have. You have just everything that is fine and dramatic in golf boiled right down to our last four players on the course. Oh, my. And we're all just caught up in this excitement here at Augusta National and enjoying every moment of it, and we trust that you are too. Let's go out now to part of that action at 16.
There is Billy Casper. He's just over the green by a foot or so on some rather nasty bare stuff there. You can see it very well. He's about 35 feet, and he's playing down the hill. He can't afford to go for it. He's got to try and lie it up close to the hole, and he'd have to settle for a 3 here, I think. He'll probably take a putter. You could easily fluff it with anything else from that bare lie. Casper, 9 under, player with a putt for a 2, 8 under. Casper has his putter. To roll it down this fast slope, hope it won't gather speed and go by. Casper level with Littler, leading the tournament, 9 under. Just from behind the 16th. I'd better hit the hole. But no, it's a good 4 feet past for Casper. And that is Nicklaus' ball on 17. Back to 16. Gary Player lining up his putt, 8 or 9 feet. And just where he would like it to be, below the hole, fairly straight and up the slope. He can give it a chance. As I've said, we haven't seen a single birdie do at this hole today, and here's the very positively final chance. Gary Player. This to go 9 under and join the leaders. Well, that doesn't need any description from me. That was it in slow motion, and what a putt, and what a moment. And I would add that they got a standing ovation from the crowd, the two of them, as they came onto this green. And now that won't have made Casper's any shorter. This is a good 4 feet for Casper to stay 9 under. There are 2 brave putts with which we conclude on the 16th green today. And so at this moment, in the final round of the 1970 Masters Tournament, the leaders are Gene Littler, Billy Casper, and Gary Player at 9 under.
If for any particular reason you had to leave your television set, we have a 3-way tie, and we're going right out to 17.
On the tee, Gary Player. Player to the right center portion of the fairway. He is far down the right-hand side of the fairway. And at this point, we don't know if he's in any trouble or not. Now Billy Casper. Two big trees in this fairway, one on the left side up near the top of the screen, the other off to the right. Present a very narrow opening here on 17. And Casper's tee shot is going to be right down the middle. Fine tee shot, a bit to the right of center, but he'll be in good position. Meanwhile, back on the green, Bert Yancey, whose second shot was to the back of the 17th green with a long birdie putt attempt. He's better than 30 feet away. This could tie him for the lead. And Yancey will have a foot and a half or 2 feet for his par 4, which will keep him one shot behind the leaders. Now, Gene Littler with him, keep in mind, has a shot at a birdie from between 15 and 20 feet away. Gets his par and remains at 8 under for the tournament, one shot off the lead of this large gallery completely encircling the 17th hole, and this is where the action is right now. Gene Littler, call it between 15 and 20 feet. This is for birdie 3 and the lead in the 1970 Masters with just one hole to go. He'll have 6 or 8 inches for his par 4. And Littler remains tied for the lead at 9 under par as he leaves the 17th green. Meanwhile, out on the fairway, Billy Casper taking a look at his shot at the right center portion of the fairway. Casper's ball, indicated by the line on the left, player is far to the right in the area of the 15th fairway, and how much trouble we will have remains to be seen. You can see Gary from this point will have a blind shot to this green. There's a series of 3 large mounds which run down the right side of the 17th fairway, and from the point where his ball is, will completely block his view to the green. He probably will not be able to see the top of the flagstick. Let's go to 18.
On the tee at 18, Bert Yancey. This is the par 4, dogleg right. Beautiful position. Right center of the fairway, and now Gene Littler. Incidentally, Littler has managed to par this hole each of the first 3 rounds when he recorded scores of 69, 70, and 70. Bert Yancey bogeyed Thursday, but parred Friday and again yesterday. Let's first go back to 17.
That's the shot of Billy Casper, and Casper is 4 feet away from a birdie 3 on 17. Billy Casper from the right center portion of the fairway. Meanwhile, back out on the fairway, Gary Player wants a good long look at the shot he's going to have. Gary, of course, has won the Masters once, finished second twice. We go to 18.
Gene Littler. One of 3 tied for the lead. Littler playing with him Yancey, 1 stroke behind. And he is just off the fairway to the left, but should have no particular difficulty. and should be clear to the flagstick. And let's pause now 5 seconds for station identification. Now, Gary Player is aware of the fact that Billy Casper is definitely close to a birdie, because this, you see, is the situation. Casper and Player are the final twosome. Littler has already left 17-9 under and has driven at 18. The second shot of Billy Casper with this result at the 17th hole, so he's within a birdie range definitely. And now we're going to watch the second shot, and we go to 17.
Player is actually in the 15th fairway. As he prepares to hit his second shot, he cannot see the green that he is shooting at. From about 140, 150 yards away, Player's second shot is on the way. It is in the center of the 17th green, and certainly a fine shot from that point. And from here, it's obvious in this twosome, Casper has the advantage. He'll have a 4-foot birdie putt attempt. Player will be putting from 25 to 30 feet away. Billy Casper, who last year led at the end of 3 rounds in the Masters and wound up 1 shot away from winning his first green coat. And Gene Littler, also looking for his first green coat, walking up the 18th fairway. Casper has always played 17 exceedingly well, it seems. From our memory in the past at Augusta National, he birdied this hole on Thursday, and on Friday, he parred it yesterday. The hand is for Gary Player. Just a tremendous gallery around 17, and you're looking at a portion of them. Let's go to 18.
Now, the drive to the right is the drive by Yancey, who is 1 stroke behind the 3 men who are leading. The drive to, that's the drive that's in the fairway and about 280 yards from the tee. Now, just off to the left of the fairway is the drive by Gene Littler, who is 1 of 3 tied for the lead. And there is Littler going over to survey the situation. Now, you see, he must carry that bunker which protects the left front of the green. And the flagstick, as you will see, is on the left front of the green. Actually, if you're interested in exact distances, the flagstick is 23 feet from the front edge. And Gene Littler is 1 of 3, tied for the lead at 9 under par. But 1 of those 3, Billy Casper, is in birdie position. Now, there's the pin placement, and that, you see the bunker there? That's the bunker that Gene Littler must carry from that point. The par 4, just a great finishing hole, the 18th, here at Augusta National. 17th Masters appearance for Gene Littler. In 1962, Gene Littler posted his finest finish, a 4th place finish here at Augusta. Now, let's see what's going on at 17 now, where our final twosome of Gary Player and Billy Casper are. That's, we had the quick look there at Gary Player, who'll have a long putt in a moment. Meanwhile, attention here at 18 centered on Gene Littler's second shot from about 160 yards. Perhaps a bit more, not much though.
Please hold.
Magnificent second shot by Gene Littler. Back at 17 now. This is the birdie putt attempt by Gary Player. And now Bert Yancey's second shot at 18. He needs a birdie to tie for the lead. He's 1 shot behind. within just inches of clearing the bunker. But a sand shot is facing Bert Yancey, who has been so close to winning that green jacket and has always played well at Masters. Now let's go back to 17.
Billy Casper has 4 to 5 feet above the hole here. Most putts we have seen from this angle have been breaking to Casper's left. This is for undisputed possession of the lead with 1 hole to go. Casper detecting some movement immediately behind the green. This could be one of the most important putts of his career, as Gene Littler acknowledges the applause on 18. For the lead. All the body English in the world by Billy Casper, and it goes by 1.5 feet, and now he needs this for par. This is a tricky little putt from here. So Casper remains at 9 under par and tied for the lead. There you see it again in slow motion, spinning off the cup, and look at Casper. Boy, if ever body English could put the ball in the cup, that would have done it. Now Gary Player. He's going for par 4. He has a putt of 4 to 5 feet, about the same distance as Casper's, only his from the side. It's a very severe pin placement here at 17. Really pinched in the narrowest part of the green on the far right-hand side, 15 feet from the edge. Pressure putt by Gary Player, who remains tied for the lead. Let's go to 18.
Bert Yancey has just come out of that bunker in front of the green, and he has a very tricky downhill putt of about 15 feet remaining for a 4. Now, Gary Player's putt again. That pressure putt, we watched it on videotape a second time, and that came at 17, and he had to get that down to remain in a tie for the lead at 9 under par. Now, on the tee at the 72nd hole, our final twosome, Billy Casper, Gary Player, tied for the lead with Gene Littler, who is on this final green in 2. And Littler will be putting for a birdie in just a moment or so. That's Bert Yancey right there. He's there in 3. And to retain any chance at all, of course, he must get his putt down. And that, of course, is suggesting that Gene Littler would have to 3-putt. But that's happened. That's happened here at 18. We've only had 16 birdies through the first 3 rounds. 7 the first day, 5 the second, and 4 the third. So there's Bert Yancey on the green, and here is Gary Player on the tee at the final hole. .420 yards, this final hole at Augusta National. Perfect drive, just perfect. About 275 yards off the tee is Gary Player, who has parred, and bogeyed in that order. And now Billy Casper, who has picked up his 4 every day. Casper is 1 under today. Player is 3 under today. They are both 9 under for the tournament. Well, the folks back at the tee said beautiful as soon as he hit it, and they knew. This is Bert Yancey for a must 4. 31-year-old Bert Yancey, playing in his 4th Masters, has again come so close. 1967, playing in his 1st Masters, he led for 3 rounds and finished 3rd. 1968, finished 3rd. A bogey 5, 2 under par 70, and Bert Yancey completes the 1970 Masters at 7 under par. Another outstanding showing for Yancey. Now it's all up to one of 3 men. And here's one. Gene Littler putting for a birdie that could place him 10 under par. Distance, about 18 feet, 19. This is for the lead. Around the 70. And 2 fine competitors leave the 72nd green. As back down the fairway are the 2 men tied with Littler, Gary Player and Billy Casper. Here is Player. Yesterday, when Player bogeyed this 18th hole, his 2nd shot was in the bunker in front of the green. He was not able to get down in 2. It would appear that Billy Casper has just made a double check on distance. Player will hit first. Remember now, if we finish in a tie at the end of the regulation 72 holes, there will be an 18-hole playoff tomorrow. And we'll bring you the conclusion of what... and of course, we're not just going to dispense with things today with just some scores and statistics. You'll get a chance to visit with those who tie, if indeed there is a tie. Jack Nicklaus today used a 6-iron for his 2nd shot. Some of our players have used 7 irons, but a 5 and a 6-iron would perhaps be the most used club for the 2nd shot at this 420-yard finishing hole. So now all eyes turn to Gary Player as Billy Casper waits. In the bunker. For the 2nd day running, Gary Player's 2nd shot has found the bunker at 18. And now Billy Casper. And definitely a birdie possibility is set up by Billy Casper with a pressure-packed, great 2nd shot at 18. So at this moment, in the final round of the 1970 Masters Tournament, our leaders, 3 of them, are tied at 9 under par. Right. And so this Masters title is on the line at the 72nd hole. Gary Player is in the bunker in front of the green. Now, we should tell you that earlier today, and of course what another player did has no meaning at all. We mentioned it only to point out that from almost the same point in this bunker earlier today, Dick Lotz holed it out for a birdie. Now, as far as, let's take a little bit closer look here as far as actual distance from the flagstick. About 37 feet plus another 10. So close to 50 feet from the flagstick is Gary Player. He must get down in 2 to tie Gene Littler, who has finished 9 under par. And then, of course, there remains the possibility of a birdie putt that could win it all for Billy Casper. So, veterans, 39-year-old Billy Casper, 33-year-old Gary Player, the only foreign player ever to win the Masters. And that was in 1961. Now, I'll tell you, unless my eyes played tricks on me, that came very close to holding out on one of several bounces on the green. But Gary Player, who ran down a pressure putt at 17 to save par and remain at 9 under and tied for the lead, has a pressure putt ahead of him for a 4. But before he putts, let's watch that shot again. One bounce. 2. Oh, not quite as close as I thought. But that, I'm sure you noticed, that was from a partially buried lie. That was just a great shot. So now Billy Casper, putting for a birdie that could win it all. If he does win it today, you, of course, will get an opportunity to sit in on an informal presentation of that coveted green Masters jacket. If there is no winner today, if we go to that 18-hole playoff tomorrow, you will still get a chance to visit with those who have tied at the end of the regulation 72 holes. So enough of the words. Let's just watch right now as Billy Casper can win the Masters with this putt. We are assured of at least a two-way playoff. And I would just have to think that it takes a fantastic amount of composure at a moment like that for a putt to be just as close as this one is about to be as we watch it again in slow motion on videotape. And now, Gary Player. If there's to be a three-way playoff, he must run down this putt. Winner of this Masters in 1961, runner-up in 1962, and again in 1965. Won the British Open twice, the U.S. Open once. Fantastic concentration by the player and the gallery. There is almost a collective sigh from our gallery here at Augusta National as Gary Player, in just a gallant bid to force a three-way playoff tomorrow, loses out, and we will indeed have a two-way playoff, because that's the way it finished after 72 holes of dramatics at Augusta National. Billy Casper and Gene Littler, neither strangers to the sort of thing that we watch today. Pressure-packed shot after shot. Perhaps you'd like to see that putt again by Gary Player. Here it is on videotape. By that margin, did Gary Player miss an opportunity to play for this Masters title tomorrow. And we repeat, there will be a playoff 18 holes tomorrow, and we will carry the play from the 13th, at the 13th, and then through the 18th. And now I know you're interested in many other scores, and you'll get a chance to follow your favorites now as they are posted on the screen. And as they are posted, we would like to tell you of how the three amateurs who played the final two rounds made out. Our low amateur was Charlie Coe, who continued his outstanding amateur career, finishing this tournament at 4 over par. Steve Melnick, a 75 today, was 9 over. Vinnie Giles, the third amateur to play the 72 holes, had a 74 today and finished the tournament at 8 over par. That's the way our three amateurs made out. There's Charlie Coe's score posted a moment ago. The outstanding round of the day was turned in by Miller Barber with a 35-30 for a 65, and that 30 tied the back nine record here at Augusta National. So I'd have to say that everything that one expects at the Masters certainly was here for all to watch today, and we're so very happy you could watch along with us. The skies were overcast much of the day, but just perfect for the gallery watching and fine for the golfers. We'll have a chance to visit once the official duties are taken care of by our two players who tied at the end of 72 holes. Gene Littler, 40 years of age, in his 17th Masters and his finest finish ever. Back in 1962, Gene finished 4th here, and Billy Casper tied last year, you may recall, at 282. It was won by George Archer, who posted a 281. Billy's illustrious career has been highlighted up until now by wins at the U.S. Open in 1959 and again in 1966. He was a member of the U.S. Ryder Cup team in 1961, 63, 65, and again in 1967. So tomorrow's playoff will be between two men who have been experienced not only in tournament play, but particularly here. 17th Masters for Gene Littler and 14th appearance here for Billy Casper. The 18th hole turned out to be a very unfortunate hole for Gary, not only today, but yesterday as well. And I'm certain when Gary replays this tournament in his own mind that he will recall that the bunker at 18 proved to be the downfall yesterday and again today on the 72nd hole. And now we ask you that you join Pat Summerall.
An exciting finish, and we will have an 18-hole playoff tomorrow between Billy Casper and Gene Littler. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the chairman of the Masters Tournament Committee, Mr. Clifford Roberts.
Good afternoon. As I think most all of you know, the Masters is sponsored by our club, the Augusta National. What some of you may not know is that the event is supported and managed in part by the top leaders of the golfing associations around the world. I believe 9 or 10 of such organizations are represented here this year. The Masters has become an annual occasion for these distinguished gentlemen to meet, join hands, and work together to stage this particular tournament. We are anxious to recognize the expert assistance that has been rendered and to express our thanks. While time does not permit introducing the many individuals involved, I can present to you the chief officer of each of the big four golfing associations. First, the Right Honorable William Whitelaw, Captain of the Royal and Ancient of St. Andrews, Scotland. Lord Derby, Honorary President of the British PGA. Mr. Philip Strubing of Philadelphia, the President of our own United States Golf Association. And Mr. Warren Orlick, the Secretary of the American PGA, who is substituting today for Leo Frazier, the President of our PGA. Leo hasn't quite finished his particular assignment in connection with this year's tournament, and accordingly didn't make it here in time. I'm now going to return to you, Mr. Whitelaw, and ask you to be the spokesman for your foursome. I do this because your organization outranks all others in age. Then, too, R&A rules are in vogue in 40-odd nations where golf is played. Moreover, as a member of the House of Parliament, I suspect that you are always ready and willing to say a few words. Therefore, I call upon you to express whatever message you may have for golfers in the United States and in the considerable number of other countries where this broadcast will be viewed. Mr. Whitelaw.
Mr. Roberts, it has been a very great privilege indeed for me, as this year's captain of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club, where golf has been played now for over 200 years, to come to your great country and to attend this magnificent tournament. I appreciate the kindness and the hospitality which has been extended to me here in the name of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club. I am proud to think how many members we have from your country, you, Mr. Roberts, and Mr. Strubing, for whom I'm also speaking now, and Lord Derby, from my own country, who is the President of our Professional Golfers Association. We are indeed fortunate to be able to come here, not only to view a magnificent tournament, but also to have the chance of meeting informally together and discussing the many problems in running the game of golf. We are all, I believe, here to serve the game to the best of our ability. This tournament gives us a marvelous opportunity, and on behalf of us all, I must say to you how much we appreciate what opportunity you have given to us.
Thank you very kindly, Mr. Whitelaw. And now it's my particular pleasure to introduce our old friend, Mr. John Winters from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who is substituting again this year for the president of our club, Bob Jones. Mr. Winters.
Thank you, Clifford. Well, I think this has been a very exciting Masters. It began to tighten up yesterday in the third round, and the lead changed back and forth, and it got even more exciting today. I think it's a matter to give us a great deal of pleasure to know that our good friend and fellow club member, Charlie Cole, was a low amateur. Now, Charlie, if you don't mind, some of our, the quality of the golf of the members down here is not too good, but you've been a fine player for a long time. We're particularly happy that you were the low amateur in this tournament, And if you don't mind, your fellow members will bask in your glory a little bit. Would you care to make any comment about your play or anything that you didn't like?
Yes, John, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to particularly thank Cliff Roberts and Bob Jones for extending me the opportunity, the invitation to play in the Masters. It's a tremendous thrill and honor to me. I'd like to congratulate at this time Gene Littler and Bill Casper on their miraculous play over this week, and I wish them both the best of luck. They're both close personal friends, and I know the best man will win, but I wish you both the very best of luck. Thank you.
Well, Charlie, I can sympathize with you because I don't know of two more popular men that we would like to see wear the green coat than these two. And tomorrow we're going to find out which one it was. Now, Gene, did you have any particular problems today that you'd like to relive, or maybe another shot or two you'd want to do over?
Well, I'd like to play the 16th hole over. I hit a very poor shot. I'm afraid I was choking a little bit more than normal, and I just was afraid of hooking it in the water and kind of half-topped it in the right-hand bunker.
Mm-hmm.
But as I say, my collar was getting a little tight at that time, but I struggled in, and fortunately Billy was having a little putting trouble coming in on the last couple of holes. But I think we'll have a great day tomorrow. At least
I'm sure of that. Now, I don't have to ask Billy about a particular hole that he might like to play over again, because I happen to be there at the time, and we'll just forget the 8th hole today, won't we, Billy?
Well, John, I must say it's a nicer circumstance sitting here talking to you than it was out there on the 8th hole talking to you.
That was kind of terrible talking out there on that road, what we were going to do, wasn't it?
Well, you know, I went to sleep twice out there today, and are the only on 2 holes, the 11th hole and the 8th hole. Both holes I was over par. I made a double bogey at 8 and a bogey at 11. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I felt that I played quite well, and I was particularly encouraged knowing that I needed birdies on one of the last 4 holes to move into a tie after Gene had made bogey at 16, which I did get a birdie at 15, and had 2 wonderful opportunities the last 2 holes, but unfortunately I didn't make them. Fortunately for the gallery and everybody watching the show, we'll have a good round tomorrow.
That's right. Well, I think the most interesting thing of all is you two started out playing with and against each other about the time you were 17 or 18 years old and out in Southern California.
Probably before that.
Well,
we've been playing a long time.
Well, there's one thing about it, you both know it, and you know each other, and I know it's going to be a wonderful playoff, and all I can say is we'll be happy with either one that wins, and I wish you could both win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Winter. That concludes the interviews. Now let's go back to Ray Scott.
Thank you very much, Pat. We'll take this opportunity here to say good afternoon a bit early for our broadcast colleagues, Frank Gifford, Bob Ferrier. CBS Television Sports presents from the Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia, the playoff round of the 1970 Masters Tournament. Good afternoon, this is Ray Scott. The weather is warm and sunny for our 18-hole playoff round here to determine the Masters winner. And right now there's important action out of 13, and we go there to Bob Ferrier.
The 13th hole, par 5, 475 yards. Gene Littler, 6 down to Bill Casper, has just hit a beautiful second right to the fat of the green. We show it in videotape. That shot of Littler's is 30 feet from the flag, with a very subtle ridge between him and the cup. Here is Gene Littler. Casper has played 2. We go to the 18th.
You know now that right now, Gene Littler is on and 2 at the par 5 13th. Billy Casper has already hit 2 shots and is yet to reach the green at 13. So now let's bring you up to date on what transpired. Billy Casper used only 12 putts on the front 9 as he turned in 33, as Littler required 38 strokes on the front 9. Casper picked up his first bogey of the day at 10, but Gene Littler, having tree trouble along the left side of the fairway at 10, came up with a double bogey. At one time, after Casper had birdied the 11th for his 4th birdie of the day, he had a 7-shot lead. But right now, Littler has cut it to 6 strokes and is in good shape at 13, and we go there now, and there's Billy Casper.
Billy Casper pacing back to his ball. He's played 2. He overdrove the fairway into the crowd, played his second short of the water, laid it up, as you say. Now he has an 85 yards pitch over the creek to a flag which is only 12 feet on the surface. That's a fine shot, fine shot. 20 feet past the hole. Bill Casper. We go back to Ray Scott at 18.
Right now, we would like to tell you that our CBS coverage will include play at 13 and continue through 18. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our CBS broadcast reporters.
I'm Bob Ferrier. I shall be reporting the par 5 13th hole, where both players made birdies yesterday.
And I'm Pat Summerall covering the par 4 14th hole, where both Billy Casper and Gene Littler made par yesterday.
I'm John Durr reporting at the 520-yard 15th hole. Both Littler and Casper had birdies here yesterday.
I'm Henry Longhurst at the 16th, where Casper yesterday got a par 3, but Littler dropped a vital stroke.
This is Frank Lieber at the par 4 17th, a hole that both Billy Casper and Gene Littler parred yesterday.
And this is Ray Scott. I'll be covering play at the par 4 18th. Both Casper and Littler managed pars here yesterday, and now let's check their progress in this 18-hole playoff. Here's the way it stands right now, a 6-stroke differential. But as any of you know who have followed the fortunes of the various players in preceding Masters tournaments, there can be a dramatic turn in fortunes, and it could well be that a turn will occur at 13, and we go there now.
Gene Littler with an eagle putt, 35 feet. Three feet from the hole, Gene Littler. Taciturn as any Westerner. Now Billy Casper. He's 20 feet from the hole. His putt is for a birdie. Casper's taking a very good deal of care over this one. 6 shots is a healthy cushion, but there's a lot of water to cross on this course still. Bill Casper on the 13th green, 20 feet from the hole, a putt for a birdie. Turn of the ball and it would have been in. Now Gene Littler. 3 feet from the hole, and he can pick up one more stroke on Bill Casper. Gene Littler, the 13th hole for a birdie. And he's got it. That's one more stroke. Only 5 strokes between them. Gene Littler has picked up 2 shots in the last 2 holes and must begin to hope. We go to 14.
As the 2 players come over to 14, that's Gene Littler, who is now 3 over par. Billy Casper 2 under, a 5-shot difference. Both of them, both Littler and Casper, have parred 14 in all of the previous rounds of the 1970 Masters. No birdies, no bogeys. This hole is 420 yards long. For the most part, throughout this round, this playoff round today, Casper has been out driving Littler by, about 20 yards on almost every hole. Most people do not recall ever seeing Casper hit the ball much longer than he has during this playoff round. They're waiting for the fairways to clear. Yesterday, this is Littler's second shot. He made par. This shot landed just on the front of the green. Players here would prefer to be long, if possible. This is videotape of yesterday, and this is Billy Casper's second shot. And Casper flew it right at the pin. This was his second shot yesterday, again on videotape. And you can see he almost hit the flagstick. Now this is live. Littler's drive appears to be right in the middle of the fairway. Oh, apparently not. We're told now that he hooked it over into the rough and possibly hit some trees. Billy Casper. And Casper also has gone into the trees. So both players, both Littler and Casper, have difficulties. And so at this moment, in the playoff round of the 1970 Masters, Billy Casper leads Gene Littler by 5 shots.
And so, in our playoff round here at Augusta National, Gene Littler has managed to pick up 1 stroke on each of the last 2 holes. And as we gaze through records of past Masters tournaments, it's interesting to note, for example, that back in 1950, Jim Ferrier appeared to be a winner in a battle with Jimmy DeMeritt, who looked like he might be headed for second place, but a swing of 7 strokes in DeMeritt's favor on the last 6 holes. That's just one example. There'll be others we'll get a chance to tell you about. Billy Casper, we repeat, used only 12 putts on the front 9 today. From tee to green, Gene Littler played well the front 9, but his putter was not able to keep pace with that of Billy Casper, who of course has long been acknowledged as one of the fine putters in the game of golf. So with just ideal weather here at Augusta National, the round started today with Billy Casper birdieing that first hole, and we're going out now to the live action at 14.
That's Billy Casper. He's just walked up the 14th fairway to take a look at his shot. His tee shot was hooked, banged off some of the trees in the fairway in the left rough, and bounced back, and he's got a long way to come. About 260 yards away. This is a 420-yard hole. Casper's is the short ball. Littler also pulled over into the trees, but he doesn't appear to have the problem that Casper does. Billy Casper playing in his 14th Masters tournament. He's never won it. He came oh so close last year. There is Casper's shot coming up to the 14th green. He's taking a long look at this one.
Pat, would you think, with the shot that he has facing him here, that it's possible for him to reach this green, or was the tree going to force him to play to the right of the hole?
Ray's 240 yards away, or about 230. He's got a full wood in his hands. It'll be a tough shot. I think from where we are, that he might have some problems with the limbs of the tree in between. He put the wood back now, we're told. Now another wood. And from where he was, an excellent shot. He didn't make the green. He's about 40 feet short. Right in front of the green. Casper is going to have problems making a par here. We told you that he'd parred all 4 previous rounds, but today it's going to be extremely difficult. Littler, too, in the trees as he hooked his tee shot here at 14. Littler has picked up 2 shots in the last 2 holes. He's 5 down. Gene about 180 yards from the flag. And there is his shot. He is using an iron. From the reaction of the crowd, excellent shot. And so Littler puts himself in position now to pick up even more strokes. He trails by 5. Casper in a difficult position. It's going to be extremely tough for him to make par here at 14. Littler with about a 15-foot crack at a birdie. This was Littler yesterday on videotape from 30 feet. And this on videotape also is Littler's par here at 14 yesterday. Casper. This again was yesterday in his birdie attempt at 14. And he made this for his par. At this point, Casper was 8 under yesterday. Littler was 9 under. Casper has a tough shot. He is about 40 feet away. The applause for Gene Littler, who's now riding at the 14th green. Casper's about 40 feet away from the green. And once he hits the green, he's got about 25 feet to work with. Billy Casper leads Gene Littler by 5 strokes. But Littler now with an excellent chance to pick up more. He's picked up 2 in the last 2 holes. He will still have about 18 feet to salvage a par. Littler has an excellent chance at a bird. His putt downhill. Littler makes this putt and Casper misses, he could pick up 2 more shots. Casper is away, I believe. This is about 18 or 20 feet. And Billy Casper makes bogey at 14 and goes to 1 under par. As Gene Littler looks, Casper has bogeyed 3 out of the 5 holes he's played on the back 9. This is by no means an easy putt coming back now for Littler for his par. Littler now remains 3 over par. Casper 1 under. And so, at this moment in the playoff round of the 1970 Masters Tournament, Billy Casper leads Gene Littler by 4 strokes.
This back 9 continues to provide dramatics at Augusta National, as since the 11th hole, Gene Littler has gained 3 strokes. After being down by 7, he's only down by 4. And earlier, you recall Henry Longhurst mentioned, rather it was Bob Ferrier, there's much water on this golf course remaining in the back 9, and some of that water is on the 15th hole, the fabled 15th. And that's where our players are right now in this 18-hole playoff round for the 1970 Masters title. And we go to the 15th and John Durr.
And the appreciative gallery watching Gene Littler struggle to this comeback that he has made on the last few holes, getting ready to tee off on this 520-yard hole.
Hey, yeah, good shot.
And in the center of the fairway. If it doesn't go too far, oh, he's well down the fairway. He can reach this green in 2. Yesterday, both of these players tried to reach the green in 2. They both got birdie 4s, but they got them through 1 putts. Now we have Casper coming. And along the same line, and this time, Billy Casper has been outdriven by Gene Littler. Littler hit the longer of the tee shots on the 15th hole. On this hole in the earlier play, Littler had 3 pars the first day. This is a videotape of yesterday. Littler's shot coming in high as he walks along and watches the ball hit and bounce over the green, over the putting surface, and come to rest on a mound, leaving him a very difficult down shot. This is Casper's shot yesterday, his second shot. He was trying for the green with a wood. Unhappy because he saw it drifting to the right. And it splashed into the sand. And that's where he went with his second shot yesterday. Now, here is Littler's third shot on videotape. Look how close this runs up to the cup. Now, you think that didn't make Gene a very happy young man? Well, they call him laconic and they call him a lot of things, but he was pleased with that shot because it was a super shot here, his third yesterday on the 15th, leaving him that short putt for a birdie 4. Acknowledging the applause of the crowd. Now, this is Casper coming from the bunker. A long carry from the bunker because he's all the way across from the pin. Running, running, running. And on the videotape, we saw it come up to this point. And that is his birdie putt yesterday, as we showed it on videotape. So they had 1 putt greens here at the 15th that brought both of them 4s. Now we have the live action here on the 15th. The 2 California contemporaries coming down. The gallery on either side of the fairway standing almost at attention. They are beginning to wonder, is the little man, Gene Littler, about to come back? Casper had looked so invincible on the front 9 with those few putts. And yet, as pointed out earlier, bogeys have come up to haunt him here on the back 9. It will be Casper hitting his second shot. The wind, if it is a factor, is possibly a little in favor here.
John, you have watched many and many a Masters tournament. How important is impetus here? Casper had it on the front 9, and it could well be that Littler has picked up something here in the back 9 in the way of momentum.
Well, I would say that this hole, Ray, right here, if for some reason we see Littler get another birdie and Casper doesn't, that there might be a bigger swing going back up. Casper's 4-wood is going very much toward that bunker where he was yesterday, and he is back in the same sand.
Nice going, Billy.
He is not quite as far up. He will have a little more difficult shot because he is a little closer to the edge of the trap itself, a little closer to the grass. And now here comes the shot that may tell whether this swing, the swing toward Gene Littler that Ray Scott spoke of, is going to take place, because Littler, with that terrific tee shot, I have never seen him hit a longer tee shot on the 15th hole. So far down that on this 520-yard hole, he's using an iron for his second. This is Littler. Well, he wants to test that wind again. It's very important. And you see that he is consulting with his caddy to see just what effect the wind will have. He does not want to go over the 15th green because we have water beyond. There's the water he must clear to get to the green. But if he is a little too strong, there's water behind this 15th green also. And there is no escape from that water. Now we have Littler at a moment of indecision. This is not a good sign, because indecision in golf is frequently the forerunner of bad news. He can't decide what club to use, and this sometimes, well, I believe he's now set. Playing in his 17th Masters, he's after his green coat. Struck it straight toward the green, straight toward the center of the green, and it's going to be a fine shot. Hits on the front, bounds up, and he will be about 40 feet away with possible eagle putt here on 15. Well, whatever club he did decide, it was the right one, because he made a perfect shot into the 15th. There we see one of the classic swings of the American golfing tour, Gene Littler. And there he has come onto this large putting surface here at 15 and will have an opportunity for an eagle, although he is quite away from the flagstake. There we see the shots they hit in. The one on the right is Casper, who went into the bunker. And I repeat again, he is very close to the front edge of that bunker. On the left is Littler, who is on the green. Playing in his 17th Masters, he's after his green coat. Struck it straight toward the green, straight toward the center of the green, and it's going to be a fine shot. Hits on the front, bounds up, and he will be about 40 feet away with possible eagle putt here on 15. Well, whatever club he did decide, it was the right one, because he made a perfect shot into the 15th. There we see one of the classic swings of the American golfing tour, Gene Littler. And there he has come onto this large putting surface here at 15 and will have an opportunity for an eagle, although he is quite away from the flagstake. There we see the shots they hit in. The one on the right is Casper, who went into the bunker. And I repeat again, he is very close to the front edge of that bunker. On the left is Littler, who is on the green. And now let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. The gallery is watching. They have applauded Billy Casper as he has come first onto the area close around this 15th green. He had walked fairly well down to the green before Littler hit his second shot. Casper now walking over to once more see. Littler is coming just across around the far edge of the lake, towards the front of the screen now. And the gallery, having watched the scoreboards here at the Augusta National and seen that Littler has picked up strokes on the last few holes, rooting for the underdog, and the great shot that he made in here was very much appreciated. The shot which Casper will have here now is very similar to the shot we saw just a few moments ago on videotape, with that one exception in that he is much closer to the edge of the bunker. He has less sand there, so that he will have to get the ball up a good bit faster. And a long trap shot, a long shot from that sand, is not an easy shot to control. The green is fast. So if he's too strong, he may go well beyond the pin. He has gone 10, 12, 15, 18, possibly 20 feet beyond the flag. So a birdie that he gets, if he gets a birdie here today, it will indeed be well earned. Billy Casper on the green in 3. Gene Littler has studied the line, consulted with his caddy. The differential, which had at one time been 7, has now been reduced to 4. And here on the 15th, there is the likelihood that it might be close even more. Shadows across the green. The flagstick itself is in brilliant sunshine, but there are shadows in the pine trees. Littler smoothing out his swing. He trails by 4, remember. This is for an eagle. 50 feet away. He is going to be just a little short. Just a little short. What a magnificent, smooth stroke ball that was to go down to within a foot of the hole. And I believe that he probably will finish out his birdie. Let's see, he will. Casper watches it go down and sees his lead cut by one further stroke, perhaps, as Casper, having played 3, will try now to get a birdie that would match that which was just scored by Gene Littler. And if he does not get it, the lead is then cut to 3 strokes difference. Casper's sensational putting on the first round gave him a big advantage. From about 22 feet, Casper's try for the birdie. And it's a foot short. That's about it. So, let's see if he taps this in, as he does. And they walk off the 17th. And at this moment in the playoff round of the 1970 Masters Tournament, Billy Casper leads by 3 strokes.
And so Gene Littler's back 9 surge continues here at Augusta National. And in front of our players, the dangerous par 3 16th over water. And we go there now to Henry Longhurst.
And now, yes, Littler's tee shot. We'll wait to see it. About 200 yards. Stops in for a moment, so we have time to say that for the last 4 rounds of the tournament proper, Littler has had 3, 3, 3, 4 here, and Casper has had 3, 3, 2, 3. And if you can lose 4 shots in the first 4 holes in this class, you can regain 4 shots in the last 4. Yes, Littler. Sounded beautiful. Flag up on the very top left-hand corner of the green there, and he's 2 or 3 inches off the edge, but should get a par 3 there. Quite an intimidating one for Casper to follow. Casper 7 ahead after 11, only 3 ahead now. Target area of the green at about 200 yards must seem very small to Casper now. Perhaps I shouldn't have said that. There is one of the finest winning strokes we shall ever see on an occasion like this, and Casper at a range of about 200 yards puts his ball 8 feet from the flag with an obvious chance of a 2. And now we can see the way they played this hole yesterday. Now there's Littler, and that's one of the really bad shots that he played in the whole tournament. Pushed out to the right, a really dreadful one for his class, and into that bunker, and it cost him a 4. Here's Casper attacking yesterday, straight away, no stopping to think, and bashing for the flag all the last 4 holes. That isn't sand, that's just a rough path. There's Littler out there, just pitches on the fringe, you see, and gets caught there. And if I'd pitched another 18 inches, he might have got just far enough up. There's Casper down the slope, has a bold go at it. It ran by like that and left him this very treacherous one back. And we're very pleased to get that in. That was yesterday on the videotape. And now, this is still yesterday. And that never was going to reach the hole. And that's a 4. And perhaps you could say that that was the one that caused it to be a playoff instead of a win for Littler. And so, back we come to today on the 16th green. Flag right up on the far left-hand corner. Big crowd, of course, you expect that, but you will hardly believe me, but I'm telling the truth when I say that it's now about 5 o'clock, and some of them were here at 10 o'clock this morning. They've been sitting here waiting for this moment for 7 hours. This is 25 to 30 feet for Littler, just an inch or two off the green. Obviously you take a putter a bit downhill, and it's not one to which he can play an attacking putt for a 2.
About what distance is involved here in this putt, Henry, would you say?
This is 25 to 30 feet. The hole might have gone in if it'd been in the center, but it's about a yard past for Gene Littler, the 16th. Only 3 behind now, has been 7. Now we wait for what could be the killer by Casper after that wonderful tee shot. Here he is putting this one from 8 feet for a 2. This would put him 4 ahead with 2 to play. Billy Casper for a birdie 2, the 16th, to put him 4 ahead. And I should be very surprised if we haven't seen there the winning stroke in the 1970 Masters. Now this is an anticlimax for Gene Littler. He's still got to get it in to stay 4 behind. Bravely hole by Gene Littler, and he goes to the 17th, 4 behind. And now we go over to the 17th.
17 is a 400-yard par 4 playing to a bunkered elevated green. You'll see the tee is very much in the shade of the majestic pine trees here at Augusta National. In fact, the tee is carved out of a shoot of pine trees with 2 very large trees down the fairway presenting obstacles to the players and leaving a relatively small opening. One of those trees up in the upper left-hand corner. And those spreading branches on that tree in the upper left-hand corner of your screen obscures about half the fairway. The pin placement on 17 is identical to that of yesterday. It's pinched in the narrowest part of the green on the far right-hand side, just 15 feet from the edge, some 25 feet from the front and the back fringe, as you see there on the map. Casper first off the tee. Casper starts his tee shot off to the left side, clears that tree 190 yards out very nicely, and he is in good shape down the left-hand side of the fairway. Now Gene Littler desperately trying to catch up on the last 2 holes. Littler also down the left-hand side and very close to that of Billy Casper, just a little bit beyond. Both men in good shape on 17. And so at this moment in the playoff of the 1970 Masters Tournament, Billy Casper leads Gene Littler by 4 strokes.
So the final dramatics unfold here at Augusta National. Checking through the record book, the greatest margin recorded in an 18-hole playoff for a Masters title occurred in 1962, the year that Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and Dow Finsterwald finished the regulation 72 holes in a 3-way tie, and Palmer won the playoff with a 68 to Gary Player's 71, with Dow Finsterwald finishing 3rd. And today we have, as our players are on the 17th, Billy Casper there, leading Gene Littler by a margin of 4. But not only is the finish of play at the 17th in front of our players, but we are well aware that yesterday at 18, when Gary Player had an opportunity to finish in a 3-way tie, that he was bunkered with his second, and it was costly, just as it had been the day before. And Bert Yancey was bunkered as well, and so there is still treachery ahead on this challenging Augusta National course. And incidentally, when the time comes for the awarding of that coveted green Masters jacket, we will watch that presentation here on the practice green at Augusta National. We'll get a chance to hear from the 1970 winner as well as watch the presentation. Now let's go to 17 and Frank Weber.
The second shot coming up here at 17 for Billy Casper and Gene Littler. There you see the position of their tee shots. As you may notice, that bunker guarding the right front portion of the green has to come into play for both of these golfers here, and a second shot too short may easily catch that bunker. On the other hand, if you're long to the right, it is down an embankment and a very difficult third shot. So here's Billy Casper's second. He's birdied this hole twice, parted twice. And this is coming right on line with the flagstick. Casper with a beautiful second shot on 17. He'll have a putt of less than 15 feet for a birdie. He has played 17 like he has owned it here in the Masters in years past. As we mentioned, he birdied it the first 2 days. He went right at the flagstick with his shot yesterday, did the same today. Now Gene Littler, who birdied it on Saturday and parred it the other 3 days. Gene told us he used a 5-iron yesterday for his second. His shot coming right at the flagstick, too, perhaps a little bit to the left. And to the left it is of Casper's. It's a fine shot, nevertheless, but he'll have a putt of some 25 to 30 feet, similar to the putt he had yesterday on 17, if he is to pick up his birdie. On videotape now, we'll show you how these two players putted at 17. Casper's putt for bird. Or rather, Littler's putt for a birdie, pardon me, from about 20, 25 feet away. Left him that much for a par. Billy Casper had just a great second shot yesterday. Put it within about 5 feet of the cup, above the cup, and had a very tricky putt coming back, which could have won him the tournament. This is videotape from yesterday, and this is the putt that could have won it. And that's what happened to Casper. He needed this putt yesterday for his par 4. That's the way Mr. Littler and Mr. Casper played 17 yesterday. Now we're back to live action. Both acknowledging the applause a moment ago as they reached the 17th green. Between them, Gene Littler and Billy Casper have 31 years of Masters experience. 17 for Littler, 14 for Casper, each looking for his first green jacket. Littler is 39, Casper is 38. This, by the way, is the 6th playoff in 34 years here at Augusta National. Littler's best finish was 4th in 1962. He was 6th in 65, 8th last year, and he qualified for the tournament this year by virtue of being a member of the Ryder Cup team last year. Former U.S. Open champion, 1961, and won the U.S. Amateur back in 1953. He needs to make up 4 shots in the last 2 holes, almost an impossible task. This putt from between 25 and 30 feet for a birdie 3 at 17. He charged it as he has been doing the past few holes, trying to make up strokes here, and will still have a difficult little putt coming back for his par 4. As Littler marks, and Billy Casper looks over the putt, which could really put this 1970 Masters away. Billy qualified this year by virtue of being a U.S. Open champion of the past 5 years. You might recall he tied for 2nd last year. Won the U.S. Open in 1959 and 1966, that time in a playoff with Arnold Palmer. This is for birdie 3 and a 5-shot lead. Very coolly, Billy Casper sinks that 15 to 18-foot putt to increase his lead to 5 shots, providing Gene Littler makes this. And Littler bogeys 17. Now let's go to 18.
And so Gene Littler strides to the tee at 18, and in an instant you will see Billy Casper with just the formality of playing out the par 4 18th between Casper and the 1970 Masters Championship. And there is Billy. In talking with broadcast reporters and writers prior to the start of the tournament today in the locker room, Billy was asked by one of the writers, in effect, would he be cautious today? Would he lay up at a par 5, for example? And Billy smiled and said, oh, if I have a 4 or 5 shot lead, I just might. As it turned out, the par 5 15th, for example, Billy did not lay up. An outstanding exhibition of golf by Billy Casper on the threshold of his first Masters Championship. Last year, ever so close. Losing out by 1 as he finished in a tie for 2nd. A dogleg right, the finishing hole at Augusta. And perhaps you heard in the background a word from one of the spectators back at the 18th tee. The word, beautiful. Perfectly positioned drive, and now Littler. Beautiful. And Littler, too, is in good position at 18. And so all of us here around the 18th green expectantly await the arrival of the 1970 champion and runner-up as we are about to complete our special playoffs. So at this moment in the playoff round of the 1970 Masters Tournament, Billy Casper leads Gene Littler by 6 strokes. Well, I don't think I need to tell you that we have a wonderful gallery here for this playoff round today. And although our weather has been ideal through the first 72 holes, today it's been perfect. Whereas we had some overcast skies, not so today. Now, videotape of play at this 18th yesterday. Here we have Gene Littler putting for a birdie from about 20 feet. Had that putt dropped, he could have won it yesterday. But as he said later, he was perhaps more concerned with not missing the next putt rather than in trying to sink that one because speed was so very important. And he said, I could have well run it
perhaps 6 feet past the hole if I had been bold. And so this putt remained for his par 4, and he finished at 9 under. That was Gene Littler on videotape yesterday, and here is Gene Littler live today, preparing to hit his second shot to the 18th green, as he is 3 over, and Billy Casper, by virtue of a great front 9 and a big comeback here in the last couple of holes. From 165 yards, Gene Littler fires a good iron to the green at 18. And now Billy Casper. Incidentally, both of our players have been the model of consistency at 18, having picked up pars here throughout the tournament. Exactly hole high, Billy Casper lies at the 18th. Now we're again going to view by way of videotape Billy Casper's play of yesterday. This is the putt that could have won it for him yesterday. And as Billy Casper said this morning in response to questions, when asked about that putt, he said, "I thought it was in all the way." And when Gene Littler was asked about watching Billy Casper's putt as he did from the scorer's tent, he said he thought he had made it too. And then after Billy Casper came this attempt by Gary Player for a 4 that would have put him into a 3-way tie. But it was not to be, as Gary Player bogeyed 18 as his second shot was in the bunker. But now live action, and smiling Billy Casper comes to the putting surface. Just moments from now, we will all get an opportunity to watch the awarding of the Green Masters jacket to Billy Casper Jr. Incidentally, we added a year to both Billy Casper and Gene Littler yesterday, and we correct that today. Gene Littler is not 40 years of age. He said he's going to stay at 39, which he is, and Billy Casper, instead of being 39, is 38 right now. The term serene is used many times to describe Billy Casper. And I believe that he likes that definition of his personality. And again, the Masters is played before a very wonderful gallery. This is for a birdie. Billy is just a short distance away from a round of 69. Gene Littler now for a birdie. So Gene finishes his round with the ever so elusive birdie that he was seeking on the front 9 when he played extremely well from tee to green, but the birdie putts would not come. Gene Littler now for a birdie. So Gene finishes his round with the ever so elusive birdie that he was seeking on the front nine when he played extremely well from tee to green, but the birdie putts would not come. And so the two who grew up in the San Diego, California area meet under the most competitive of conditions in a playoff round, and the winner is Billy Casper. And would you say that there would be a happy twosome, the professional player and the caddy, as they leave the final green? And that's Billy Casper's son is there, and his wife is there, and smiling faces everywhere as Billy Casper has emerged the winner. And so, at this moment, our 1970 Masters winner is Billy Casper by a margin over Gene Littler. I think it was 6 strokes. No, it was by 5 strokes. Henry Longhurst said it very well. Henry Longhurst said it very well a few moments ago in describing the action at the 16th today when Billy Casper was lining up a birdie putt. I think he used the word that this could be the killer. And as it turned out, indeed it was. By the way, that scene right there on the practice green here at Augusta National Golf Club will be complete in a few moments, and that would be when Billy Casper, who is right now in the scorer's tent, comes into view for the presentation of the Green Masters jacket. But as we said, at the par 3 16th, the par 3 over the water, it was there that the putt that indeed turned the tide, stemming the surge by Gene Littler came about. So let's watch it now again on videotape, the play at the par 3 16th.
Here's Littler. Sounded beautiful. Flag up on the very top left-hand corner of the green there, and he's 2 or 3 inches off the edge, but should get a par 3 there. Quite an intimidating one for Casper to follow. Casper 7 ahead after 11, only 3 ahead now. Target area of the green at about 200 yards must seem very small to Casper now. Perhaps I should have said that. There is one of the finest winning strokes we shall ever see.
And so, with the words of Henry Longhurst, one of the finest winning strokes we shall ever see.
It's not 1.
Back out now at 16.
2. This is 25 to 30 feet. The hole might have gone in if it had been in the center, but it's about a yard past for Gene Littler, the 16th. Only 3 behind now, has been 7.
The weatherman.
And now to the practice green at Augusta National and the presentation ceremony. Mr.
When
Clifford
Bob Jones,
Roberts.
Was active. He always found at least 2 or 3 groups or individuals to compliment, but even Bob overlooked the weatherman. In the early days of this tournament, we established, I believe, an all-time record for bad weather. I remember one year we weren't even able to start until Saturday. Another year, both of the bridges were washed out on Ray's Creek. For the past 7 years, including this one, we have had ideal weather conditions, almost perfect scoring conditions, on all 4 days for 7 years. And while I'm not a statistician, I doubt if any tournament anywhere in the world has ever been blessed with 28 days of record weather such as we've experienced. And if they keep right on, it'll be quite all right with all of you and me too, I'm sure. We had the pleasure here this year of being supported and assisted in this tournament by more golfing associations around the world than ever before. I don't know how many of you realize how important this is to us, but I assure you, the Masters wouldn't be the Masters except for the expert and experienced assistance that is rendered to our club by these golfing officials who regularly come here each year and join hands and work with us in operating this tournament. If the Masters has any distinction or ever attains any, it will be due in large part to that big advantage that we and we alone enjoy. It's the only time each year when the top officers of the big 4 golfing organizations meet at one place and work together in the conduct of a tournament. And I had the great privilege yesterday of introducing the captain of the Royal Nation, St. Andrews, and the honorary president of the PGA of Great Britain, and the president of our own United States Golf Association, and also the president of the PGA of America. And I just hope all you people realize how much all of you who enjoy this tournament and all of us who try to help operate it owe to those fine gentlemen. Now, John Winters, our old friend John, old reliable, who has held just about every important office that there is for anyone to hold in golfing associations, and who has been a member of our Rules Committee for a good many years, and who shortly will be aiding in the operation of the PGA championship at his hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma. John is substituting once more this year for the president of our club, Bob Jones. And John, if you will now take over, I'll be ever so much obliged to you. Mr. Winters. Thank you, Clifford. I think it's been a wonderful tournament, and I couldn't help but be impressed on Saturday afternoon in the back nine when these new red figures going up on the scoreboard began to tighten up and everything looked like it was going to be a wonderful finish. It turned out that way again yesterday. I don't think Billy was very much interested in terminating yesterday because, according to press reports, he and Gene figured out it took them 72 holes to get the rest of the characters, and then they go to work on each other. But if Billy had been really sincere, maybe he'd have sunk a putt on 17 yesterday like he did today. But I think it's been wonderful, and it's one of these tournaments where you have a playoff like this that everybody hopes either one will win and be happy about it and be very sorry as to whichever one might lose. Both of these men are popular. But I'd like to I've got to start in a minute and get my fellow Oklahoman properly acknowledged here. Charlie and I have been friends a long time, and I've always admired him, not only for his sportsmanship, but being a truly fine amateur player. Charlie has won many honors, and he's won many prizes, and he's always been a wonderful representative of the game. A few years ago, I had the pleasure of participating in the awarding of the Bob Jones Trophy to Charlie. Now, I think that's one of the great honors in golf. And I was very happy to see Charlie win it. And I might say that on behalf of particularly the members of this club, we like to know that Charlie was the low amateur in this tournament. And Charlie, we have a few mementos here for you. You're going to get this gold and silver vase, you're going to get a gold medal, and you're going to get this cigar box. But in due course, when we get a chance to kind of polish them up and engrave them, they'll be yours. Charlie, would you care to say a few words?
Thank you, John. Cliff, if I may be presumptuous enough, I'd like to say a few things in regard to the amateur contingent in this tournament. First of all, it's a cherished honor to receive an invitation. Our play at certain times has been adequate, almost to the degree of success of winning this championship. I know that Bob Jones and Cliff Roberts, the members of the Augusta National Golf Club, would like nothing more than to have this happen. That is, an amateur to win. But I promise you that we couldn't do as well as we have done in the past if it hadn't been from the support we've received from you wonderful galleryites. John, I thank you very much. I want to congratulate Billy Casper. Gene, condolences, but you still deserve a great big hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Charlie. When we have two fine golfers like this in a playoff, and they both can't win, as I said before, we're a little unhappy about the one that loses. Now, Gene Littler got off to a little slow start, but he didn't give up, and he was working hard on the backside, and he picked up a few shots, and I don't know whether he had Billy nervous or not, but if he didn't have, he should have had. Billy says the answer is yes. But
I'd like to ask Gene a few questions and let him tell you his own story about it. Gene, would you come up here by me a moment, please? Gene, this playoff match got off to a fast start today with 2 fine second shots. And did it bother you any when Billy ran that birdie in on the first hole?
No, I figured we had quite a bit of the course left to play at that point. The next hole bothered me a little bit.
Well, I was going to ask you, when I saw your third shot down there, I couldn't believe it, and I can't help but believe that might shake anybody up. I know it would me, but I don't know about you experts.
Well, it looked where Billy drove the ball like I had a little advantage on that hole, especially being down by the green in 2, and Billy came out. But as you say, you couldn't believe that shot, and I couldn't either. It was it was on a little dry turf, but there was no excuse for dumping it in the bunker. It was just a poor shot, and I don't know what happened.
Well, would you say that the results of that, I know it was unexpected to you, would that shake you up any for the rest of it, or could you forget it?
Oh, yes, I forgot it shortly after, and but Billy played great after that, and I think we all know what a great championship this is, and he's been one of, or the greatest player in the last 10 years, and he certainly deserves to win. I'd like to congratulate him.
Well, Gene, it's too bad that you both couldn't win. But Billy's going to climb into his green coat this year, and I think I can say for all the fans here, they'll be looking forward soon to the day when you'll put one on. We hope it won't be too long.
I'd love that. Thank you, Mr. Winter.
Thank you, Gene. You'll get a medal. Well, Billy, I guess we're down to you. You've been playing in this tournament, what, this your 14th or 15th? 14th Masters. Last year you came pretty close. This year you came real close, but you had to go an extra round to button it up. You're a popular champion, I know, here, and as I said, it's too bad you both couldn't win, but I know you're glad to win. Would you stand up here with me a minute? I know you felt real good about that first hole, but what happened on that tee shot on number 2?
Well, I don't think I was ready to play. I made a very fast and hurried swing and trying to hit a low hook and get it down there where I could reach the green in 2, and just made a very fast swing and got over it. I almost got on the road that we had fun with yesterday, John.
I don't think I'll ever go down that road again, Billy. I don't think of our little session up there, and I still don't know how you got there.
Well, I don't either, and when I arrived there, I didn't think I'd be here today.
Well, I thought you putted quite well the first 9. And did you feel that it was your putting, or you just felt ready to play all the way?
Well, John, I felt pretty good most of the day. There through the back 9, it seemed like I couldn't make a par for the longest time, but most of the day I felt very good, and I had a wonderful caddy this week, as I do every year here at Augusta. Matthew is over here. I'd like to have everybody see him. And after today, he's going to change his last name from Palmer to Casper. But I would sincerely like to thank him for all of his help that he has given me the past 2 years. in the past years that I've played here. The last 2 years I've used him exclusively on the greens, and it's made the difference of me making putts and missing putts. And I'm very grateful to you, Matthew.
Well, I can sympathize with you, Billy. When that Matthew caddies for me, I do a little better, and when it don't, then I have trouble, so I know what you mean. But Billy, we have a few mementos here for you. You're going to get a gold medal, and you're going to get that bas-relief replica of the clubhouse, and you're going to get this silver cigar box. Now, when we get them suitably engraved for you, well, you'll get them in due course. And if you don't get them very soon, just call Mr. Roberts up and say, where in the hell are they?
I'll do that. But I'd just like to thank Mr. Roberts and all the gentlemen here at Augusta National for staging another fine championship. It's one of the great championships in the world, if not the greatest, and I always look forward to coming here and playing. I particularly enjoy the golf course and the condition of the golf course. And I think it's very wonderful that we have men such as Mr. Roberts, Mr. Jones, and all the other fellows here that do so much for the game of golf. I know I'm very grateful to men such as these. I might relate a story that I heard the other evening just to show you what type of people these people are here that run this golf tournament. Mr. Roberts was out on the course the other evening following some of the players with Joe Dye. And Joe was interested in watching the tournament, and Mr. Roberts says, well, I think we've put the tee too far back here on 15. We've got to move it a little bit this way. And they got on another hole, and he had these ideas on something else. But this is the way it is here. They're continually improving, progressing. And this is a great example to all of us, if all of us could continue to progress and move forward. I would particularly like to congratulate Charlie for his fine play this week. I played with him the second round, and he played a beautiful round, and he's truly a great golfer and a great gentleman, and I'm just feel very fortunate to be associated with men like that. I would particularly like to thank Gene for his very poor start today. He opened the door for me and left it open, but I must say that he scared me there, the back nine, particularly the putt at 16 that went right across the lip of the hole. If it had been a little easier, it had gone in. I don't know whether I could have made mine or not. But there is one consolation, Gene. I've got the green coat in San Diego, and maybe next year you can capture it. Certainly nice to be here, and I'd like to thank all the gallery for their support, and I hope you all have enjoyed the tournament. I know I have. It's a goal that I have fulfilled, and I'm deeply grateful for your support for this wonderful week that I've had. Thank you.
Now don't sit down, Billy. We got one more thing. I think it's come time to put the green coat on you. You worked hard for it. So George Archer, if you will come up here as last year's champion and put the coat on Billy Casper, please. Congratulations.
And so the ceremonies are completed. We should tell you the first gentleman you heard there at the practice green was the chairman of the Masters Tournament Committee, Mr. Clifford Roberts. You heard from Mr. John Winters of Augusta National Golf Club. And of course, the low amateur this year was Charles Cole, referred to more often as Charlie Cole. And you had a chance to see last year's champion, George Archer, the runner-up today, Gene Littler, who recorded a 38-36-74, and our champion with a round of 33-36, the highlight of which most certainly would have to be the front nine, when Billy used only 12 putts in recording that 3-under par front nine. They were equal on the back nine with even par 36s. And so Billy Casper has reached yet another plateau in an illustrious golfing career. For Gene Littler, who's Up until this year, his highest finish here had been in 1962 when he came in 4th. And he said, in fact, within the last 24 hours that he felt that had been the only year in 16 previous Masters when he thought he had a chance to win. Gene Littler has already received great honors in golf. He was our amateur winner, U.S. amateur winner in 1953, and he was a member last year of our 1969 Ryder Cup team. For Frank Gifford, Bob Ferrier, Pat Summerall, John Derr, Henry Longhurst, and Frank Kleber, this is Ray Scott saying congratulations to our 1970 Masters champion, Billy Casper. So after an 18-hole playoff round, the 1970 Masters champion is Billy Casper at 3 under par.